So my name is Charlie Robinette, and I was partnered with the Orange County Partnership for Young Children with the Eco Studio internship this semester. Specifically, my title would be working with the Growing Up Green conservation curriculum. I'd like to preface, I never worked with early childhood education before outside of interning with my church before. Definitely had not seen the behind the scenes administrative side of things. So view all this through the lens of this being all very new for me as I was entering. So just to give us a little bit of a orientation before I start really getting into the depth of the presentation, and talk a little about the organization, my mentor, Maria, who is on the call here with us, the curriculum itself, my responsibilities within the internship, what we were able to produce, and then what I was able to personally gain from this internship. So first of all, the Orange County Partnership for Young Children, their mission is to ensure that all young children in Orange County arrive at kindergarten healthy and ready to succeed. All of their work falls within 4 focus areas, being early care and education, child health and early intervention, family support, and community outreach and engagement. Now, the Orange County Partnership falls within a broader program that extends throughout North Carolina, making up its 75 local partnerships across North Carolina. And this network aims to advance a high quality, comprehensive, accountable system of care and education for each child, beginning with a healthy birth. So Maria was my mentor for this project. I've got a little bio for her here, but what I can tell you is that after spending 14 years with the partnership, she now currently works in a plethora of areas outside of the curriculum with which I worked. It actually was interesting to hear every time that we would meet how little time she necessarily had to give to this project because there were so many other things going on. So very appreciative for all the answers that she was able to give me in a very eager and ready fashion as I would rapidly email her throughout the week. And so here's the curriculum itself. It was made possible by a grant from the Triangle Community Foundation in 2019. What's important to note is that that was 3 years ago. And so right around the time that the ball started rolling in 2019, going into 2020, COVID hit. And so the curriculum had been written and started to be soft piloted. And then everything was kind of retracted and fell stagnant to the degree that whenever Marie and I first started working on the project in January, the last time that the curriculum had been visited was in June of 2021. So there were a lot of pieces to be put back together, inventory to be taken for kits that had been returned, materials that had been returned. And so again, over here, the acknowledgements, that was work that had previously been done. Here's a conceptual overview of the curriculum, which gets into essentially 4 different modules or units, each dealing with everything from recycling, waste management, even talking about composting and gardening, the water cycle. All of these things are all included within the curriculum. So my responsibilities within this, I broke it up into 4 phases. I don't think we necessarily saw this when entering, but retrospectively, here's how I saw it. Initially, again, we were kind of picking up the pieces. I had to take inventory of what had been returned, had to organize those materials, and then put them back together in kits. Next, I had to read through the curriculum, make a few revisions, format some things. And then I had to produce materials based off of what was needed, especially where things necessarily, maybe they weren't returned from the beginning, or maybe we found that there was another area for growth, had to produce those materials. And then last but not least, after we had distributed some of those kits, we went back and decided to proofread some more, took inventory, and then prepared for me to transition out. So here are just a couple examples of some of the things that I would have produced. Over here on the left are some of the kits that we would have sent out. You can see that one of them is missing some things. That was a task that Marie and I would have to tackle with figuring out what things were needed where. And then also these are some flashcards that I made of having to do with the food chains. And so we would have a master example, and then we would give out these little cards where both the teachers and then the children would have to pair them together. And then phase 2.75, this was a little curveball that was thrown in midway, but we embraced it and we enjoyed it. We entered a collaboration with the Cooperative Extension, which is through NC State and NCA&T. And it was a program that would have promoted, or it will promote child care centers, maintaining gardens and engaging with the planting and harvesting of vegetables so that children become better acquainted with eating fresh produce in the classroom and at home. this actually required a great, I feel like it was about 3 weeks to a month worth of work. And so I would produce these they were cards that would be laminated and taken into the garden, each pertaining to different vegetables, this one specifically being potatoes, so that the teachers would know how to lead the students whenever they were working in the garden. We actually were able to go to a daycare center and have a piloting of these to see how it would work. So here's us planting some peas with children. And then the final product, we were able to create a curriculum that last time I looked at it, it was 157 pages, which is a lot of pages, but it's broken up into modules. And we have 4 participating centers as of right now, with plans to expand. But again, those kits that I showed before, we have 4 of those already out. And then with Grow Fresh, because again, that was a pretty hefty portion of this internship, we have 28 completed cards that cover introductory information and also 5 different vegetables. I showed you potatoes, but there's peas, potatoes, lettuce, kale, and carrots. And then I think it's 6 centers that are looking to participate there. And then moving forward, some things that I personally gained. I broke it up into 2 different perspectives or topics. I think skills and abilities is really important, some tangible things. Communication of environmental topics. That was something that Marie and I discussed when entering the internship. This was a priority for me. And I feel like I can do that, I'm well equipped to do so. Moderating information. For example, in an academic setting at UNC, we discuss environmental conversation in one regard, but wouldn't necessarily do that with a bunch of 3 and 4-year-olds. So that was something that I've learned how to kind of refine that conversation. I put Canva 3 times because I sure used Canva a lot in producing all those cards, use them. Also use them for some of the Growing Up Green curriculum. Attention to detail and proofreading. There were several times where either I or Maria would read through 157 page document is really long. So if we read through, we would miss something, we print it off. Well, does that mean that you go back and you print it off again because you missed something, or would it just be better to wait and then look over it 3 or 4 different times each? And so really found that was important. Experience and perspective. This was, again, very brief. I'm not saying that I'm at all qualified, but was able to witness early age childcare. And then also get an appreciation behind educational curriculums. I was thinking even in middle and high school, elementary school, all of these different curriculums have someone working tediously behind them. And so I just have an appreciation for them. Also the importance of collaboration, working with the cooperative extension and consultation too, bringing in teachers, assuming that you don't know best necessarily, and you need to hear from someone whose boots are on the ground. Then also the importance of foresight and planning, kind of getting back to the proofreading. Don't reinvent the wheel if you can do it really well the first time. And then just in conclusion, this is a little gathering of books that I was working with when creating all the kits. And something that really stood out to me, the Before We Eat book that you see in green right there by Pat Brisson. I ended up reading it one day and actually ended up crying there in the office, which I commuted to twice a week. And it essentially gets down to being thankful for everyone from almond farmers to dairy farmers, the people who drive the box trucks, the people who work as clerks at the counter, being thankful to your parents for providing you with food. I think really just being able to instill that at such a young age, being thankful for the planet, for the resources it provides, for the people who help us take us to school. All of that was just really impactful for me. And so I was very thankful for the opportunity.